Worst food move of all time, picking up a hamburger you drop on the floor at LaGuardia. Worst free agent signings of all time, today's draft. Here's the trivia question for you, Chris. LaGuardia Airport is named after a former New York City mayor. What was his first name? And mayor is not the correct answer.
Yeah, I know. Mayor or Mr. I've seen... I can picture the little plaque.
You're never going to get it. You're never going to get it.
It's a crazy name. I want to say Frank. I don't know why. Frank LaGuardia.
Should we give it to him? He's got two of the letters. It's Fiorello.
It starts with an F? It starts with an F, though, or no?
Yeah.
Gosh, because I know I've seen the plaque in the airport many times. But, okay, Frank is my answer. I'm wrong, so go ahead.
See, I would have thought it was Vincent because the name of Joe Pesci's character in My Cousin Vinny was Vincent LaGuardia Gambini, so I wouldn't have thought of anything other than Vincent. Okay, I get the first pick.
Yep.
Albert Haynesworth, final answer. Disaster of a free agent signing, $100 million contract that was finalized just a few hours after free agency began in 2009. That was when free agency started, when the negotiation period opened. It was all one thing, and there was clearly tampering. There was actually a tampering investigation of Washington because Chad Speck, who represented Albert Haynesworth, was spotted having dinner with Daniel Snyder at the Combine, and the excuse was they were talking about Malcolm Kelly and how the guy who ended up being a bust of a receiver could be the next Andre Johnson. No, they were talking about Albert Haynesworth. He got a bunch of money. It was a disaster once Mike Shanahan got there, and it never worked for Albert Haynesworth and Washington, and he was supposed to get $40 million guaranteed. He never even got that. It was a bad scene all around, and the worst, in my opinion, free agent signing of all time.
No, it's up there. What's crazy? I got a little personal experience with Albert, right? I mean, first off, me and Albert went on our visit to the University of Tennessee together, so we spent that weekend together. Right, and my Aunt Wendy, who watches the show religiously, she always loved her some Albert Haynesworth because of that. Mike, when I was in Tennessee, he was the best defensive player in the NFL, and he was leading up to that. He is totally a guy, and I don't think he'd have any problem with me saying this. He chalked it up once he got the cash. There's just no doubt. He talked about cash a lot. I still thought he'd have more success than he did in Washington. He was unblockable. He was unbelievable for the Tennessee Titans during those days, but, that was a bad one. All right. I think I'm going to start off with Larry Brown. I mean, Larry Brown and I don't even remember the money, and I don't have the details here, but he got a bunch of money from the Oakland Raiders, a few months after he had those 2 interceptions in Super Bowl 30. And he never even really played for the Raiders. They spent all this money acting like it was a big-time free agent acquisition, and it's like they signed them all because of one game. It's kind of crazy. The Raiders actually did it, as I was looking at this before, did it twice. They did it the next year with Desmond Howard, which was odd. But to me, that will go down as one of the worst free agent signings of all time just because it was awful one game, and they got nothing in return off of that.
5 years, $12.5 million with $3.5 million guaranteed. February 20, 1996, when he signed with the Raiders. That was a lot of cash at the time. Now it's just not even a mid-level deal as NFL goes, but that's because the salary cap keeps going up and up and up. Back in those days, it was probably $47, $50, $52 million for the salary cap for the entirety of your roster. Next one for me, man, there's a lot of different.
There's a lot of ones here. I know. There's some recent ones where I'm like, man, we want to think of the old ones, but there's some recent ones.
I'm going to go Scott Mitchell.
Okay.
Scott Mitchell was the guy who stepped in 93 when Dan Marino ruptured an Achilles tendon non-contact, went to the Detroit Lions and was just got big money and never lived up to it. And he was supposed to be the savior for the Lions. And when you have Barry Sanders as your running back, come on, you need to be a little bit better than Scott Mitchell was. So I just think that was way too much money for a guy who never panned out for the Lions.
You're right. I mean, I remember at the time just going, whoa, they're paying him that? Like, I know there were some good moments and some big yardage games and everything like that, but they paid him like he was an NFL superstar. And certainly was not proven to be that yet. I can still remember that day. I think I'm in high school, early years of high school when that happened. The next one, man, I got so many too. I'm going to go to this one. This is an under-the-radar one. And it's not necessarily about all the big money, but Elvis Grbac with the Baltimore Ravens, that was the stupidest crap ever. I don't know what to say. You win the Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer and you don't run it back? Like, Trent Dilfer's got to be pissed about that to this day. Sorry, Manchester. But, yeah, he's got to be mad about that. Going like, wait, I know we didn't set the world on fire, but he made some big throws in the playoff games. You know, AFC Championship, Super Bowl. I was sitting there when they were playing the Giants. He did some things there. How do you not run that back? Then they give Grbac a big payday, and he threw more interceptions than touchdowns the next year. So to me, that's one of the dumber free agent signings in the history of football.
Yeah, that one. You know what? That's a good one. That one was a very, very bad one for the Ravens, and to push out a guy who did lead you to a Super Bowl championship, even though he wasn't a guy who was a gunslinger, you give up your stability and your continuity,
right,
and you run the risk that it's going to end up being a problem. All right. Man, I hate to do it.
Uh-oh.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles. Yeah. I hear you. I was on my list.
4 years, $88 million.
What?
I remember the Eagles were trying to pull off the franchise tag and trade until they realized no one was going to trade for the franchise tag amount and then do a long-term contract based on the franchise tag amount, but still $22 million a year for Foles. And I thought he had done enough to deserve his opportunity.
Yeah.
And he broke a collarbone week 1 throwing a touchdown pass against the Chiefs, but we saw him get an opportunity last year in Chicago. He's just not built to be a starter. He's built to be the guy who comes in and pulls the bacon out of the fire.
That's right.
When the starter gets injured. That's it.
Yeah, he's a guy that needs real support. Not to say he's a system guy, but he needs a certain formula around him, to what you're saying. And going to Jacksonville, where a team, was not that great and everything like that, that's not the situation he's going to thrive in. That's just not. Okay, I got a team. Okay, I can run the offense and take what's there to be had and do all that. That's good. Oh, wait, you need to carry the team? Oh, well, crapola. I can't do that. I mean, that's what we saw. We saw Mitchell Trubisky was better at doing that with the Bears than Nick Foles was. So I'm with you. That's a head scratcher for sure. I'll see your Nick Foles, and I'll crush it with Brock Osweiler to the Texans? What? What the hell was that? I love Billy O'Brien. I really do. I got a lot of respect for him. That was the dumbest move he made he wasn't even the GM at that time, but that was the dumbest move the Texans made during that for Brock Osweiler. Why? Because he was on a team that went to the Super Bowl and he didn't even play in the game? I mean, that was insane. 4 years, $72 million. And, of course, compound that by what did they have to do? Give the Browns, was it 10, 16?
They gave up a second-round pick. They gave up a second-round pick to get
rid of him.
Guaranteed contract off the roster in the second year.
I mean, holy crapola. Let's give $72 million to a quarterback who can't really throw the football. What? I still cannot. This is like branded into my brain forever. Super Bowl 50, the pregame. Hey, Peyton's on his last leg. We know that. Peyton's one of the greatest of all time. I'm not trying to take a shot here. But him and Brock Osweiler in pregame warm-ups was one of the most underwhelming pregame warm-ups I've ever seen in my life. And I'm talking about college, NFL, whatever. I never saw more receivers dropping to the knees, going down to the ground to catch balls with nobody on defense, like curl routes that you ran in 8th grade. And guys are like, whoa, I got to get down and pick this off. It was pitiful. But that's a crazy one to me.
Others that I had on the list, Neil O'Donnell, David Boston.
Right.
Desmond Howard, you mentioned him. Dexter Jackson, who was the MVP of Super Bowl 37, shouldn't have been. He got a big contract from Cincinnati, I believe, after that. We mentioned Alvin Harper earlier.
Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell recently. That was dumb. Nnamdi Asomugha, right? That's another one.
Nnamdi Asomugha, yep.
Adalius Thomas, the Patriots.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.